the finale special of The Bachelorette on ABC. We understand if you didn't watch it, it's during our time slot. Obviously, you were watching us. But the live event featured a studio audience who wasn't socially distanced or wearing masks, and Twitter went absolutely nuts. One user wrote, "Why is no one wearing a mask? This is a super spreader event." Halfway through the show, the host was forced to address the nonstop chatter, saying everyone around her tested negative, but everyone will mask up anyway. Of course, Twitter had fun with that too. One person writing, "Twitter really bullied the Bachelorette into making the live audience put masks on." Another user called it an inspiring use of the internet. Well, here to weigh in on that drama and more is our panel, the host of All American Radio, Jennifer Kearns, and Media Relations Director at Proactive Communications, Jillian Anderson. Jillian, I got to start with you. I think you might have an opinion on this. What are your thoughts?
Well, as some of your viewers might know, I was on 2 different shows from the Bachelor series, and I just think this is absolutely hilarious. It is funny that Twitter's able to bully the Bachelor and the Bachelorette franchise into doing things, but this is not the first time the woke mob has pushed against what the Bachelor's doing. We saw not too long ago that the host ultimately got fired after defending a contestant for attending an antebellum party years ago, saying, hey, maybe let's talk to her. Maybe she's not racist. So at the beginning, the Bachelor was doing the normal thing, and they doubled down and listened to the woke mob. And here we have it again with the masks. It's absolutely ridiculous. And the lunacy of the whole thing is just, it just keeps going on. And I'm thinking about it as from a producer's standpoint. The last thing you want with a live audience is to not see the audience reaction. You have these masks covering up their whole face, and that's half the fun.
Well, right. I got to tell you, I think in The Bachelorette or The Bachelor, I mean, there's a lot more going on that they're not using a mask for, but that's a whole different story. But Jennifer, is this just another example of social media just having too much power that they're able to basically almost change the behavior of a television show?
Well, I'm so glad, Mercedes, that ABC is finally on the end of all these Karens that the rest of us have to deal with on Twitter and the rest of social media and out in our daily lives. They're getting a taste of what it's like to be a conservative, right? But here's what's so interesting about the big 3 broadcast networks. They're all really hypocritical in what they're doing here. If social media hadn't flared up over this, they would have continued the show as they did, unmasked, sitting next to each other, in what was probably going to end up being a super spreader event. NBC did this recently when they invited 5 million people to come and watch the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade here in New York City. And then a couple weeks later, invited another 2 million people to come watch the Rockefeller tree lighting at NBC. That's all fine. They were outdoors, but they were bunched together very closely. Here's the problem I have with it. The next morning, those same hosts that were on stage and surrounded by tens of thousands of people were commenting and wringing their hands over all these super spreader events with Omicron. And Omicron was known at both of those events. So there's a lot of hypocrisy going on here at these so-called newscasts. If you're producing a super spreader event by night, the new rule needs to be you can't be wringing your hands about it the next morning.